When's the last time you just had one of those days where you went home in the afternoon just defeated? Just really knocked off your horse, just knocked to the ground and just defeated. Well, I can tell you yesterday I had a day like that, and I left the office, just some stuff going on, and got home, and of course, as soon as I got there, my precious bride, Lisa began to speak encouragement to me, and she shared some wisdom that helped a lot. But I had that brokenness still, even when I left, and so I went down to the DeKalb County jail last night to talk to the men down there. And as I was on my way, the Lord began to speak to me some things about the day and about my situation. And the scripture that He gave me was Romans 8:28, and we all know that well. And it says, "And we know that all things work together for the good for those who love God, to those who are the called according to His purpose." And I began to let that scripture soak in and understand that when Paul wrote all things work together to the good, what he meant was that the good and the bad can work together to have great purpose in our lives. And I began to just soak that in, and I began to think about different places in Scripture where people were just broken and people were without hope, kind of like how I felt. I just felt hopeless. And I remembered the thief on the cross who was next to Jesus. And that had to be the worst day of his life, because he was going to die. He was nailed there. He was suffocating slowly to death in crucifixion. But only a few feet away from him was all the hope that he needed. And he called on that hope. And Jesus reinforced that hope when He told him, "This day you will be with me in paradise." And I can imagine that even in his agony, there had to be that glimmer of hope that had not been there before. And I thought to myself, you know what? I wasn't hanging on a cross. And my bad day was nothing like the bad day of that thief who hung on the cross next to Jesus. And it came to me that my hope is only in Jesus too. My hope is not in my job and in my job going well. My hope is not in anything of this world, but my hope is in Jesus. And I want to tell you today that if you're experiencing something like that, if you're having a rough time, just know that your hope is in Jesus, and that the Lord can use all things, the good and the bad in your life, as teaching moments, as ways to draw you nearer to Him.